how to manifest everything you want in 2024. Hi, my name is Leah Chantel, and today I'm talking about my process reflecting back over 2023 to help you manifest everything that you want in 2024. So feel free to put down in the comments below what you're hoping to manifest in 2024, what your goals are, what your ambitions are, and what kind of resources you need in order to achieve those goals and ambitions. Because that's partially what you need in order to accomplish something. Sometimes we want to accomplish something, but we haven't completely planned or thought through how we're going to get the resources in order to do that thing. Because sometimes when we're manifesting, that requires collaboration. And so we have to build relationships with other people in order to bring things about that we're hoping to manifest. So I'll tell you a little bit about my process of manifesting in 2023. So when we bring in relationships in order to manifest, that's when we can start collaborating and accomplishing really big things. But I've said in previous videos when I've talked about manifesting something that you should focus on doing what you can do independently. And that's true. So you don't want to depend on another person in order to make something manifest. However, it may be beneficial to collaborate with somebody in your community, and then you can manifest something different than you could manifest on your own. But in order to do that, you really have to master detachment, okay? So if you're going into a relationship with somebody, anybody, and you're needy, like you have to make X, Y, and Z happen, then your relationship's probably not going to go very well, right? And that's where the whole topic of manifesting and success crosses over with relationships. They're a little bit different, but then they sometimes come together when you're trying to manifest something challenging. And so when you're dealing with relationships with other people, there can be a different set of rules that are in place than when you're just trying to manifest something on your own. So when you're manifesting on your own, you could be going for it and showing a lot of enthusiasm and just work. But when you're working with someone else, you definitely want to show up enthusiastic, but you also want to mirror where they're at. So if you're overly enthusiastic and wanting to do a lot of stuff and your desires are kind of like not meshing with the other person's agenda, like say for example, you're that overzealous employee and you're trying to impress your boss, but you're not really doing the things your boss wants you to do. That's kind of like one example of the dynamic, but that's true in partnerships as well. When you're trying to build something, you sort of have to match your partner's agenda or what they're trying to do. Like say, for example, you're trying to get your book into a bookstore. So a lot of mainstream bookstores have been failing over the years. So if you're an author and you want to get your book into a bookstore, you need to become aware of that and try to help your partner, the bookstore, create something that will get people to come into the bookstore, right? Think about that, because when you're helping their business, then your book is more likely to be a success, right? So when we're partnering with somebody in order to make something that we're trying to manifest happen, that adds a layer of complexity because we have to be aware of what the other person needs, and we need to really respect their boundaries and respect their agendas and try to help them achieve their goals. So that's why it's a bit more complicated in the manifestation process. You don't want to go to a partner and be codependent on them for you to get your results, but then not offer anything back to them. And that's why I talk so much about relationships with skeptics on my channel, because as intuitive empathic people, sometimes we're a little intimidated by people who don't have the same belief system as us. But the truth is, there are people out there who are in charge sometimes of even intuitive empathic publishing companies, and they may not be an intuitive empath at all, but we need to know how to collaborate with them. And usually people in those positions know how to collaborate with us too. And so we need to be respectful and know how to work with the other person's agenda, right? And not be scared of them, right? Or not be codependent on them. And so that adds a layer of complexity into manifestation, and you really have to be able to let go, like really let go. Like you will work your butt off. Let's say it's a book and you're putting it together and you're trying to do everything right. You've watched all the YouTube videos on the internet about it and you're trying to follow all the rules and the regulations that the publisher wants you to do if you're working with a publisher, right? And then you submit your proposal and then you wait. And then at that point, you really need to be detached. And if the person says no, you don't want to get upset because maybe you will end up collaborating with them again in the future or meeting them again. It's very likely you probably will, even if you go with a different publisher. So you don't want to be bitter and upset if your book doesn't get published, right? You have to be able to let go. You have to be able to detach. And if you're not there yet and you're not mature enough to do that, then you might want to wait and not work with them yet. Maybe you want to self-publish or do something different if you feel nervous about building that relationship out and you don't feel that you're ready to do so yet and you need to work on your relationships more, right? And so when you're manifesting, one of the biggest blocks is that we don't trust the universe. And that's a very obvious one that I think I've talked about before. It's like you don't trust the universe to help you when you're on your own and trying to build out your own dream, your own goal, your own ambition, right? And here's the next piece of that that's similar to that advice, but it's a little bit more complex. After we learn to trust the universe, sometimes we also don't trust people. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Maybe we've dealt with a lot of skeptical people in our lives. Maybe they've betrayed us. They've stolen a promotion when we were working a job. Maybe we had a really narcissistic family member who really abused us. And then as a result, we don't trust other people, right? But sooner or later, if you want to manifest big things in your life, the first step is to manifest things on your own. So let's say if you're writing a book, the first step is to manifest something on your own by finishing your own book first. That's the first step. But then the next step is you have to be able to work with other people and try to trust other people again. And this is a very complex thing to do because there are people out there who are not so trustworthy. That is true. And yet, it's also true, if you trust nobody to help you, nobody to work with, you're not going to get very much help and you're only going to go so far in the world, right? And so we have to learn the skill of discerning who to trust and setting up boundaries to keep people out that we don't trust. And that's a very complex skill that takes time. And that's what I'm trying to teach people on my channel is how do you build those skills of discernment and boundaries with other people so that you choose the right partners to work with when you're trying to develop a more complex project. And here's something I've been meaning to talk about that I haven't talked about much yet on this channel, but part of trusting the universe is that you want to trust that you have spiritual guidance and that you have angels on the other side who are helping you. And people will kind of go, oh, how can you prove that? And they'll feel a little bit anxious about this advice sometimes. Having said that, I have found it very helpful to build my trust with angels and guides on the other side who can help me. And when I'm open to that influence, I suddenly have a lot more inspiration to write and a lot more inspiration to create content. We do have to create a lot of creative works these days if you want to have a presence online and create a book and create email lists and all the different things that we want to do as content creators online. And so how do we stay inspired? How do we keep creating more content? And one of my answers to that is to have this relationship with guides and angels and listen to their input in my imagination, because when I do that, I get a lot more ideas to put out creative works into the world. And so you want to be open to that influence because that's only going to help you. As creative people, we go into this space that's a little bit uncomfortable, where we're creating something new. We're not always able to articulate to others what that new thing we're creating is, especially skeptical people. And so we need to have relationships that really nurture us and help us feel confident about what we're putting out into the world. And having a relationship, with guides and angels can be very, very helpful in order for you to build that trust into the universe and put something out there that's going to be valuable. And then the next step after creating the work that you want to create, that trust in your guides and angels can extend to finding the right people who are going to help you and who you can help as well in the process. think about the ways you can help them too with your content and with your message. Because if you can help them with their goals, with their dreams and ambitions, then you've got a successful partnership going that's very good and very healthy, and you'll be able to help each other manifest your goals, dreams, and ambitions together. And that's ultimately where you want to end up. You want to think past your own needs or your own desires of creating a book as an author. You want to think about, how am I helping other people? How can I help the people who are helping me? You know, when you think about how you can contribute in that way, you've got potential to go a lot further compared to just thinking about how it will work for yourself. And so that's where we're all heading towards, and that's the key to really manifesting something very special in your life. And now that I've finished this video, I feel like I'm gonna listen to my own video again on this someday, because I think there's some really good gems of advice I've given you here. Follow all this guidance in order to manifest something really amazing in your life. You know, first begin it with you and make sure your trust in the universe is solid and that you're creating really great work. Then when you're ready, start looking for those relationships in your life that are going to support you, and be discerning who you allow to come into your life, who you allow to help you, and who you want to help too. Think about it that way, and I think the choices will become more clear. So if you like the video, please press like, and please subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying my content. I'm hoping to have a lot more really cool and interesting videos come out in 2024. This is my last one for 2023, so take care and have an amazing, happy New Year's Eve. Bye, everyone.